Hello everybody, we're going to talk about actually using the Primo site to search. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I do have my research question and my keywords in front of me so I can remember what it is that I'm looking for. Knowing what you want is really important to the research process. But there's a couple of ways of searching Primo. When you click on the Primo banner, you should come to this site. And we're going to start here using the basic search. So I am looking for books about ebooks and accessibility within academic libraries. So I'm going to go ebooks, and I'm going to use my Boolean operator and I'm going to go academic. And I could do academic library, academic libraries, librarians. So I'm going to truncate this word and we're going to just see what we get. Now this is a very basic search. I'm only using 2 keywords at the beginning and I'm doing it through the Primo basic search bar. That will probably get me the most results. And as you can see, there's almost 3 million results. That is too many. I don't need to take the time to look through 3 million results. Now, one of the ways that you can proceed from here is to use this left filter menu and select what kinds of sources you're interested in. I am interested in peer-reviewed journals. So if I apply that, I am left with about 10,000 results or 9,500. And that's a much better number to get started with. Another thing I can do is change the publication date. I would like sources that are more recent within the last year. So I type in the correct day and I click refine. Now this will narrow it down to about 8,000 results. Something else I can do is I see that there's a lot of articles that might be in different languages. I only speak English fluently enough to read a peer-reviewed journal, so we're going to click English and apply that. This is, generally speaking, an English-speaking database, so it's not going to narrow it by a whole lot, but it will eliminate some results. And then we can decide what other types of filters we might want to access. If we are off campus or we only want to be looking at online articles, we can apply those filters and see how many resources we have. Another important thing that you might be able to do is go to the subject and decide which subject you're interested. And I'm interested in academic libraries, so let's apply that filter and see how many results we come up with. So that's about 700, which is a good number. You might also be able to look at journal titles. This is a little bit iffy because you may not be familiar with some of the journals, but I do know that a serials review is mostly just going to be reviewing things, and that's not something I'm looking for. So I can click this little X to say I don't want anything from that source. Okay, now at this point, it's a little bit difficult to kind of decide and add a bunch of filters onto the end. So it might benefit you to start looking at the first couple of things and seeing if you're finding any trends in the language, in the titles, in the information that you're seeing from like the first maybe 20 sources, and seeing if there's anything you can eliminate or anything you want to pursue. Now I've seen this article be at the forefront of most of the search results that I have. As I've been adding filters, I've been seeing this. I've got my eye on this one because this immediately looks like something that I would be interested for this topic. So I like to right click and open the link in a new tab. It helps me keep organized. So we're going to look at this article. It is available online. This is the database it'll be located in. Here is the information that you can use to make a citation. You also have the option of clicking here to find citation information. And obviously we've talked about this before, but make sure that you are editing your citations properly. You could also send it to one of those citation managers with this link, or print the citation if that's something you're interested in. Now, many articles will have actually even more information in the details section, but we're able to see the author, the title, and subject headings. So we can be like, maybe I'm interested in user preferences or acquisition models, and I had not thought of those previously as keywords. This is a good way of expanding your search or narrowing your search in a different direction by looking at these keywords. I can, like I said, I like to open tabs in new windows. I can see what else he's published and seeing if he has published a lot of information about this topic. It's a good way of knowing whether he is an appropriate source for this topic. And it does look like most of what he has written has to deal with the library, has to deal with online sources. These might actually be very good sources that I could use for this research topic. Going back to the article that I opened, looking at subject headings. If you decide to search one of these subject headings and you open it in a new window, it will populate your search bar with subject here, exact, and user preferences. That's that subject title. There's a couple of different ways this field could be filled in, and we will talk about that in a minute. But as you noticed, we have about 400, 500 results that return from this. That is because this is a much more specific search keyword. It is asking for articles that the author or the librarian has categorized this as this subject. It's not necessarily a keyword, it's like an overarching subject. And it's a good way of narrowing your topic if you know what your specific subject is. But if you look really quickly, you'll notice that not all of these are based on the library. So you do want to go and add your filters, select peer-reviewed journals because we definitely want those. And we still have about 300 results. Going to subject titles may offer some help, but it actually might be better to come back up here and enter a search term. Now, you'll notice if I've selected a filter here and I add a new search term like academic libraries, this filter will be eliminated. It will reset. So you have to keep that in mind if you're adding search terms. There is a way of preventing that. I can say I definitely want peer-reviewed journals, apply filter. And I want them to be relevant. I want them to be recent enough. So I want them to be within the past 10 years. And I click refine. Something I can do is remember all filters. And if I click that, it locks. Even if I go to a different tab or I start a new search, it will remember these until I start a new session where I've closed the library website and re-signed in. So what I can do is add a new line, and maybe I want to talk about accessibility or ebooks. So I'm going to go access and I'll search. Now see, it remembered my active filters and I have about 51 results, which is a really good number to start your research and to look through. And you can see there is the article we had looked at before, but you are able to come down and find more information, find more resources that are going to be helpful. Another thing you can do as you're looking through this is these up and down arrows will let you know what information they used and what information is using this. So this down arrow says, what information did this author use to write this article? And this one says, what sources found this to be a good resource and actually quoted it in their paper? So if you click on one of these links, this is your citation for the article we're looking at. And these are the people that used that information for their article. You can go back and you can click the down arrow and it says this article cited these sources in that article. That may or may not be useful for you. You can use that if you like. It's kind of an advanced search technique, so that's up to you. When you're looking at the source, this was our original source. Another thing that is really helpful is actually clicking through and going to the database to find the full text article. I highly recommend, if you definitely want to use this, that you email the full text to yourself. And a way that you can do this usually is when you come to this database or wherever the full text is. Usually there is a link like here, this one says email, if you click on it. And of course it's planned maintenance because I'm trying to show you this right now, but you can download the PDF, save it to your hard drive, and then, or the computer that you're on, and then email it to yourself. If you're on your personal computer, you can just save the PDF. Do not rely on the link. It will time out. It will sign you out and you will not be able to access it again. So if you email yourself the link to this, it will not show up. And when you click through, it'll go just to like an empty page. You won't even have the title. You won't have citation information. You won't have anything. So I highly recommend you saving the PDF to your laptop or email or some way that you'll be able to access it again. Now you will have citation information that you're able to, this is citations from other sources. So if we go back to the full, you should have download citation, which would offer you a way to download it. You can do it in any of these software, or you can copy and paste this citation. And again, make sure it's correct, make sure you're editing it properly. Oh my, where is my mouse? Okay, one of the other things that's really interesting about a lot of databases is these related research off to the side. So this one is about ebooks and academic libraries. Here we have ebooks versus print books in an academic library. A systematic review of ebooks in academic libraries, books and ebooks. All of these seem very interesting, very relevant, and they're from 2017, 2018, 2015, all well within the past 10 years. And so this might actually be really good resource for you to expand your research. So keep in mind that you may have related research or recommended articles based on what you're looking at. So that is one of the ways that you're able to use Primo and the basic search bar in order to start your research. What I want to do now is go back. I'm going to close all of these tabs because we're going to start over afresh and we're going to use a different method when we go to Primo, and that is immediately going to the advanced search. The advanced search can be helpful because you don't have to remember as many of those search terms or Boolean operators. You can actually use the filter method in order to figure out what it is you're looking for. Are you looking for a title, an author, a subject? Obviously, a subject will be much more narrow than in any field. And do you want it to contain to start with, or is it exact? You can decide what it is you're looking for specifically within this. You can also set some information immediately here. But what I'm going to do is start with ebooks, and I'm going to start with academic libraries, the same search that I had before, but I'm going to add a new line, And I'm going to say I want to know about if it's accessible. And I'm looking, there we go. Accessible, accessibility, access, I want anything there, so I'm truncating that search term. And I'm going to search. And I have 200,000 or thereabouts. Now, something I can do is I can add quotations to this academic library term. And when I search that, I get 9 results. Now, 9 results is not a lot. It's not enough, right? So what you can do is begin to play around with how your terms are written. Maybe you started with academic library in quotes and you only got 9 results. Maybe you want to change that and go broaden your topic, or university libraries, and see how many search terms you get. And that we have a little bit more than we did in the first one. You can also add a line and say classes, and see how many are used in classes, and see what kind of results we're getting, right? So feel free to play around with these. This is not an exact science. We are trying to guess what other people are going to use in their articles, in their search headings. So this is not about find your keyword, search only your keyword, get results. It's, well, maybe I need to use a synonym. Maybe I need to keep thinking about this. Maybe I can scroll down and look and see what kind of words or language is being used. Maybe course instead of class to come up and change this. So if we have 39,000 and we change class to course, spelled correctly, of course, then we get 36 results. You can start playing around with different keywords, and don't be nervous about that, because you'll still be getting good information, but you might be finding different sources as you continue to play with this. Now, once you feel satisfied with this, or once you're ready to get started, obviously coming down and setting some filters is really important. You can set several filters at once. I'm doing it kind of slowly to show you the progress. 2011, refine. We still have 3,000. So let's select several all at once. I want to have it's available online. I do not want to have reviews. I do want to maybe have academic libraries as my subject, and I'm going to apply filters. Now I get about 400 search results. You can get here from using the basic search, but it might be more complicated or take a little bit longer. But now that I'm here, I want to remember all of my filters. So if I want to edit this search bar up ahead, I will remember these filters. So let's see. I'm seeing something about East Carolina, India, Nigeria. Maybe I want to focus on the United States. So I can add a search bar and say, I want to do, what are some terms that people use to refer to the United States? US or USA or United States or America. And I want to search that. And because I had remembered all my filters, it continued remembering those. It did that. And you can see now I have 380. So it did narrow that down. So now we're going to be talking about things for the most part that are in the United States. However, it's not foolproof. It's not perfect. This one still does look at Nigerian universities. So keep that in mind, that this is not perfect. You can keep finding information or narrowing things down as you go along. This one only has one subject, ebooks, but it has a whole description where you might be able to find more search terms. Maybe we're looking at virtual learning environments and ebooks. That is something you can do, is take keywords from these descriptions. Well, that's just a brief overview of how to use Primo to start researching. So if you have any questions, please ask. I'm going to have a discussion board up about any search questions that you might have. And good luck with your research, and I'll see you in class.